We're live in all the places.
Ayo. All the places.
Oh my gosh, I love I love our people so much. I can't even take it.
That reminds me of something that
I love our people.
there's a little joke from 30 Rock that Scott and I repeat all the time. There's a couple different shows like that where we've taken one line and decided to make it mean 100 different things. So, do you guys watch 30 Rock? I know you don't, Elsie, but did you watch 30 Rock?
No, I'm not a.
So, there's a
How did you know
page.
that?
There's a because I just know you. There's a page who's like a hillbilly, whatever, and he's basically like an overgrown kids talk show host, and he's always like, "Hey, Mister," and there's one episode where he's trying to convince someone that he's like a sexual person, and he goes, "I love sex. I do it all the different ways.
Oh,
I do it all the different ways." So when you said that, we're live in all the places. I was like, "We do it all the different ways."
a different way.
Did you ever watch
Jess-
Mad TV? Sorry.
No, no Mad TV either. Oops.
Oh, there's a taxi driver on Mad TV that whenever someone would get in the car, he would goes, "This is always all the time, always, all the time." We do that too, all the time, always. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Always. No, I was gonna say for you to
Sorry.
check on our background because John picked this background,
love
but he
it.
also has. Hold on, he has another choice. So
Is it Hanukkah?
shall we choose?
Oh no,
Shall
the
we
first one.
choose?
The first one. This one's angering my eyeballs.
Wait, what do you mean? This one's angering my eyeballs.
That one's
orange.
This
our
angers
eyeball.
your eyeballs. I think the
don't-
other one matches our outfits better.
Our
See?
pajamas.
Grays
why
and
are-
red. Like,
What is
look,
the
we're
light
wearing the
happening?
same colors. We're
We
wearing
are.
the same. Look,
Mine says
about that?
Bowie though.
Mine says
ho, ho,
Philadelphia
ho.
Eagles.
Elsie, what is happening with your light that's giving you that lovely rosy glow? Because I have my light on it and it's doing nothing but make me look pale. Is it?
Yeah, it looks like you've washed out. You're all washed out.
What's happening?
My light is does your light have the the different tones? Like mine has a yellow glow right now. I have
Hold
a
on.
yellow glow to my light. I don't have it in the
See how it's orange? Here, I'll go if I can. go
Yeah,
back a little
mine
bit.
is orange too.
Aren't you glad it's
I
not?
have the orange like thing around it.
Yeah,
what
I
if-
have an orangey thing
Well,
on my
what if you
around my
turned the light off? What would it do, Jess? If you turned the light off?
Probably nothing. Hold on.
she would go away.
No,
think.
wouldn't.
Oh, she's got a window right there. That's what I'm saying.
No, I
No,
look
she
the
would-
same.
Hey, you do look the same.
I look exactly the same.
You
Well, it could
kinda
be the camera too, right? You have a.
I have a Logitech.
Oh, it's a Logitech. It could be your camera. Do
Oh,
you,
you can't see it. I'm trying to show it to you.
yeah, you're gonna show me the
Oh my
camera. How you
gosh,
gonna do
Idiot.
that?
I'm an idiot.
So wait a minute. So Logitech sometimes has software that you can load that will actually you can play with, has blue light and contrast and stuff
All
like
right, I'll
that.
take a look.
Yeah, but she's
Not
not going to
now.
be doing that right now.
No,
I
I'm
should.
not.
Don't
You know
give
what?
her ideas.
I'm sorry. I opened my mouth. It just
You
ran
did.
out. It fell out of my mouth before I was thinking.
No, it's
Yeah.
fine. There's nothing on my Mac, so I would have to download it. So it's fine.
Also, if you were using camo, you could actually do
camo?
all of that things. You know that thing that I
know
told
there's
that oh my god. That thing that you can use your iPhone as your camera or your iPad as your camera, but that's a whole other. Hey ladies. Oh my gosh, Shalita, this is so great. We miss you too. You've been
Miss
a busy
you too,
lady.
Shaletta.
You
Hold on,
have
she
been
posted
a
some of the-
busy lady. She has been very busy lately, doing all kinds
She
of fun.
posts some of the funniest shit on Twitter I've ever seen.
She's a genius.
I forget
when
what it
comes
was
to
this
that.
week, but it was really funny.
Leslie, welcome. Yay.
Hey, Leslie.
Nice to see you here, lovely.
Hi. You know what? Now
Welcome
that
to
we're-
our morning. We are.
Yeah,
We
this
are huge slackers in the morning. This has been
Yes.
I'm sitting here eating breakfast. I'll have to stop now. I'll stop now. I promise. But
this brings me back to the back in the day when we used to do this every Monday morning at 10 o'clock, and I would
know.
not be in the best of moods.
no one. I mean, the three of
do
us
not.
are not morning people.
You.
Not
I
one
am.
of us enjoy. No, you're not. You're awake in the morning, but that doesn't mean you're enjoyable.
Yes, I am. I'm not enjoyable at night. I was just going
Wow.
to talk about. Hello, Shauna. You should see
Hi,
last night.
Shauna.
It's 7
When
in the
I say-
morning where she's
I
at.
know. I
No,
know.
I'm so excited. Oh, hey, so
I'm
last
gonna
night
share this in the group.
I'm saying good night to my girls, right? Or I'm saying like, come on, guys, it's time to go to sleep. And then Hunter comes up to me and she goes, Mama, why are you always looking? Why do you look so angry and so, what's wrong? And so sad. And I was like, honey, I've been up since 5:45. I can barely keep my eyes open. And I'm like this. So this
Aw.
is me awake. My eyes are open. I don't feel like my eyes are about to close and they're not watering and I'm going blind. So
Oh,
I know.
my goodness.
But alas. Good morning, Emily.
Hello,
Yay.
hello. All right.
Okay.
Also, we should start the
Yeah.
recording.
We should
You
start
should.
the recording. But before we start recording, can you give an idea as to when you want to do all of our, like especially the ad? Where do you want to do the ad today?
I have 2 today.
Oh, okay.
And
So-
if you were looking at the calendar, you would know that.
Yeah, but they're not in the show notes. So
They're not. They're not in the show
She's
notes.
got you there, Jess.
I have same box in the show notes, but I do not see
Oh,
the other.
here you go.
So also, we had a request to see our Notion board for the show notes.
I will be
John,
happy to
if
do
you would
that.
like to share it,
I will
because I
share
think you're
it.
the
Hang on one
boss,
second. Oh, well.
you can share our Notion board
I'll
for
put
our
the
show
bar
notes.
next to the
people.
boss.
All right.
And there we
Because
go.
I think we mentioned it last time.
We can go like this. Oh, let me open it up a
Yeah.
little bit more.
I need a link.
Yeah, and
baby.
you have
Come
to
on.
do the tap on the little thingy on the top left hand side so that the left sidebar goes away. Yeah,
Okay.
there you
Okay. There we
and
go.
then that way, look at that. Yay. So there we go. Those are our show notes, everybody. This is how we we stay in line. How about that? This is
Yeah.
how we
This is how-
attempt to
This
stay.
is how we stay in formation.
Yeah, it's
Listen, ladies, we have to get in formation.
Yes. All right.
it kind of is the same thing as Trello.
Yes,
The
it
way
is the
it's
same thing. Yeah, but yeah, anyway, we're
it's
not
in
going to get too
Notion.
deep into this because you can have different ways of seeing all the things. And
Right. Yes.
so, okay.
right.
So I
All right.
assume, my love, Jess, that you're going to be taking these,
Taking what?
taking the ads.
Yes. Have
Okay.
I ever not taken them?
Yeah, when I was doing Jaleka's ad, and then there was another ad that I did this year that
Oh.
I was the talker about her of that ad.
You guys didn't share in the group or anything, right?
I shared on Twitter, I think,
Okay, I
and
did too. But
I was waiting for my community text.
you did get one, dude.
Share
I
to a
did?
page. Oh, 'cause
Yeah.
it's me. I have to
It's there.
Oh, there it is.
Uh-huh.
more options. Share to a news feed. Okay, last episode of the year. Elsie and Jess.
It's the last episode of the year. There will
right,
be no
so are we
whining.
getting
or
ready
crying.
to record?
Yeah, I'm ready. But I can tell by Jess she's
Jess
typing.
is
So.
not.
I'm just sharing it because last time we had some very interesting guests, like my ex-boyfriend and some other people. It's always weird but hilarious when I get watched by them because I'm just like, oh, hello, Joe.
I kind of really like the community text, because Elsie
I
shares
love it.
things with that
It's
we would normally.
amazing.
Yeah.
Terry,
Yes.
see, she says,
I
thank
love it.
goodness for community, says Terry. I have her text message,
This is 297, right?
and we're going to be
Six.
giving her a high
296.
heads up, high
Once
five.
again, I have to fiddle with my friggin'
Good
hardware.
morning. Oh my gosh, it's Clara Harris. But
I
this
don't know
time she's
why.
yoga with Claris, not with Clara, not just Clara Harris, but she's a page. Oh, that's YouTube. It's YouTube.
All right, I'm ready.
I forgot.
I'm
about-
ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready when
Okay.
you guys are ready.
Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. Let me get to that.
I
Let me get
blew
to
dry
that
my
video.
hair. You can't even freaking tell.
All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, press record.
Okay. Did it actually work, Jess?
Yes,
no-
because I already made the mistake. That's why you were waiting, is for me to trip it up.
Oh,
and then
I
fix
see.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
this is great.
I was proactively screwing up while you guys were
Oh,
just waiting.
okay. This is amazing.
I wasn't screwing up. I don't know why it thinks that my default hardware is a
Oh.
Prezi camera, and I don't even have a Prezi camera, so I don't even know why it does. Anyway,
Oh no. Look at
hi.
Lena is not happy because she can't have she can't do
Oh,
the text because the
because
text
she
thing is
lives in
only
another-
for US and Canada.
US?
It's only for us filthy
That
Americans.
blows.
US and
Canadian.
Canada, so we get a little bit of outside, but
Yeah,
not.
Canadian.
That doesn't make sense to me because the guys who developed Community, I don't think are in US or Canada. But maybe
I
the
think they
software
are.
they
I
use.
think they
Are they? I don't remember
think
now.
so.
I don't remember now.
Also,
All right.
that's not a conversation
I
that
might
I
be thinking
generally
of
have with
what,
people.
where they're from?
Well, when you're making a thing, yeah, like I don't. That's not what I
But
asked.
you're not in Israel. A lot of the developers we work with are Israeli.
Oh,
So you would think that they would have world reach for phone numbers, but
but
Worldwide
alas, we
domination.
actually don't know where they are.
I'm sure they're working on it. I don't remember if it's, I know Riverside is Israeli. Riverside FM. I don't remember about Community, but I will say this. We love it. It's really fun. I love using it. And I don't, at this moment, I hope that they develop for Europe, but I still like using it. Lena, you can deal with our emails though. And there's got to be another way that we can. Oh, you know
We-
what?
What?
Active Campaign also allows you to do text. I don't know if it does
Yeah,
US
but
though.
that's annoying. But that's not this. It's not this.
It's not this, but you could take the same message and give it to the Europeans in there, and it would cost us not very much. We'll look at it, Lena. Sorry.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll look at it. We'll discuss it. We'll argue about it, and then we'll let you know how it goes. If it's Israeli, it's going to become
way.
global. Yes. See, she knows. My husband and I were just talking about this the other day. Almost all the software we use has probably been developed by Israelis. They have the most detailed and smartest software people in the world. And while we're at it, the best doctors and military.
All the stuff.
I mean, not because they're Jewish, but just because they're Israel. And that's what they do. Anyway.
Are we ready for some music?
I think so.
You ready for the show?
What's funny is that I honestly thought you were about to play Christmas music.
No.
I was getting ready for Christmas music. That was weird. Okay, yes, I am ready.
Do you have my opening insult ready that you always do?
Wait,
when
no,
you
I don't.
announce
Wait. Yes, I do.
Opening.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Hello. Welcome to She Podcast episode 297. If you are watching us live today, this is
296.
No, it's not.
296.
Is it? No, it's not. It's 297. Let's argue about it right away. Could we? It is 296. Fuck me. It's 296. Shit, I'm sorry.
Do we want to start this over again?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. It's going to be hard to be peppy that third time around. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 296. Welcome to She Podcast, the last episode of the year. I just have to get this out of the way. If I wore this sweatshirt the last time we recorded, it's not that I wear it every day. You're one video away from the sweatshirt. I'm 10 days away from the sweatshirt. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, I am happy to introduce my co-host, and so lucky that the only thing you can see on her shirt today is Ho, Elsie Escobar.
There's more.
I know there's two hoes.
There's
There's
three
three
hoes.
hoes. Which is, that opened me up to a joke about having daughters.
Yeah,
and
no.
We don't want to do
No,
that.
no,
There's
no.
three daughters.
Let's keep
Anyway.
going. No.
And then also our wonderful producer and the cutest Saint Nick you've ever seen in your life, John Jamingo. Hello, ho. How are you?
Good. I just saw the ho-ho and it just reminded me of a delicious snack.
Oh, the
Oh,
ho-hos
see?
are good.
Ho-hos. I've never had one. I
So
don't
there
even
are
know what they
people-
look like.
right even before we get into it, there are people on the Facebook page that are telling us they love the text reminders. They would have missed it otherwise. So let's go straight into that if you don't mind. If you are not getting text reminders about when we are recording or when we do stuff in the Super Squad, please text hello or anything really to 302-240-3425. That's how you can get on our text lists and get reminders about when we record live, as well as our other messages of inspiration and wisdom. Obviously, they're from Elsie.
Yes,
They are from Elsie at this time.
at this time.
340. Nope. Let me do it again.
Maybe
Nope.
you can
Hold
have
on.
it. Okay.
Hold on. 302-240-3425. And yes, you could probably tap it from the show notes if you're listening to this on your phone. Okay, now that we've done that, we'll probably tell you the number again later. Let's move on. This episode is going to be our year in review. And we have a lot to tell you about. I think before we get started, though, I want to tell you about a story. I want to tell you a story, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So a couple weeks ago, we got a request for I guess it's an affiliate partnership or something like that, and I noticed that her last name was Cosman, and I've only known one person with that name. I mean, Jewish names can be common, but Cosman is a name that I've only heard in one place. My rabbi from when I was 4 years old. My parents moved to Frederick, Maryland. He already seemed 100. I guess he was probably 50. He sings. His name was Morris Cosman. He was our rabbi, and his wife Carol was Mora Cosman. They taught our Sunday school. There were only 50 Jewish families. It was very small. They taught our Hebrew school. They taught our Sunday school. They did all the bar and bat mitzvahs. They blessed all the babies. They did all the things. And so her last name was Cosman. And I thought, well, that can't be. But I had a call with her because she was, she's a podcast consultant. And it turns out that she is this is how old Rabbi Cosman, he's passed now, but this is how old he was. He had about 10 children. And this woman, Francisca, who's young, she is married to like the youngest child of my rabbi is her father-in-law.
Wow.
Yeah. So like he's like one of the youngest of 10. His name is Chaim, and Chaim's son is her husband.
Wow, that is
I know.
insane.
It's insane, right? So she's very familiar with where I grew up and very familiar with my friends and my rabbi, who was like my whole entire Jewish education was this man, because we did not live near, we had no JCC, we had no other synagogues anywhere in sight. Nothing except for the rabbi and his wife. And we did what's called Shabbat. We used to sleep at his house on Shabbos. He would have all the kids come and sleep over and teach us the rules of Shabbat and teach us the prayers. Like, he was the best. And so when I saw her name, I was like, wow, I would be so honored to be able to tell our audience about her. I mean, it's totally what her father-in-law is completely separate from what I'm telling you about. But I just want you to know that, like, I have a very strong connection to her family, and I met her, and she's equally as lovely as the family that I knew. And it was just a wonderful conversation to be able to talk to her. And she actually lives close, and we might have Shabbat anyway. So, but I want to tell you about her. I know, isn't that crazy? So before we get into our show, I just want to tell you about her because she has a very specific podcasting consulting product. It's Podcast in a Day, and it's for people who want to podcast like a pro, but they're very busy. They need to set it up in one day. So she's selling VIP days where that are customized. She works with you the whole day, and by the end, you have a working podcast. You have intro, outro. You have a system. You have your topic. You have everything. It's customized for, I guess, entrepreneurs or people who just want to, podcast professionally right from the get-go. Everything is running in just one day. She calls it being exquisitely supported, which I love.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know. I love that. In fact, that term is so good. Exquisitely supported.
I want to be exquisite.
Her name is Francisca Cosman, but it's not spelled like Francesca. It's Fran and then Ciska. But her website will also be in our show notes. Or you can just do it right now. Fran, Ciska, Cosman is Kosman, Francisca Cosman. Book a call today. She's got special bonuses if you sign up by January 1st. She's helped dozens of entrepreneurs and industry leaders launch in a way that really fits their brand. If you look at her website, you can tell that she is really good at marketing and branding, as well as, and actually she has a music background. So your audio will sound effing perfect if you launch with her. It's amazing. Yay. So I just want to tell you about her and my little connection with her, but she's a lovely person. And I mean, I don't know. I think it would just be really fun if you are stalling on your show, or if you're like wanting to do it, but you feel unsure about all the decisions that you're making, especially if it's for a business that you're starting or a business that you already have. It's nice to have someone to exquisitely support you. Don't you
Oh my
think?
gosh, that's so sweet. I want to
It's
be
lovely.
exquisitely supported. And I think
I
that I want to
exquisitely support you, Elsie. That's my
thank
job.
you. I exquisitely support you too. We
You do.
exquisitely support all of our folks that are here
And
today.
you listening,
Yes.
I hope you
And
feel
you listen.
exquisitely supported. And if you don't, feel free to tell us at feedback@sheepodcast.com. That email does go right into our spam. No, I'm just kidding. We listen to it. I just like to make you laugh.
Oh my
Okay.
God. I just heard, did you make that joke already? Or did I just hear?
No, but lots of people do.
Okay.
It's
Something
like
about,
saying
send
your
it to this
it's like saying
email
your
and- oh, no,
complaint
I'm
box.
at a different show. Yeah.
No, but like, yeah, on every TV show, there's like a, here's the idea box, and they just hang it over a trash can and just put it right in there.
And then just put it in there. Oh my God, that's crazy. But anyway,
Okay.
switching just really quickly, also, again, moving back to giving a shout out to our exquisite community, because that's the word of the day now because of what we have. I want to give a shout out to Shauna. Shauna, I see you having your coffee, and her show called A Journey to Awareness with Shauna Hoffman. And she is part of our community via text. And I asked our people, when we were going live, send me a text back and I'll give you a shout out on the show. So I have it here. She has sent me her text. And so I am giving a shout out. I have other people to shout out throughout the show just to give you a little bit of FOMO. Sorry, Lena. And on where we go.
Amen, sister. Okay. Well, let's start with so it's funny. Elsie did her favorite things of 2020, and it's a large bulleted list. And then in my head, I just wrote it down, but in my head, I split my stuff out from winter, spring, summer, and fall this year. And I don't know if you have the capacity to look at your list and do that, Elsie. So I'm not sure if you should just do one and then the other, or if you just want to go and then I can pop in, or if you want me to do the winter and all the things, and then you do all whatever you want. How did you imagine this going?
Yeah, I think that you can just say whatever the season and I will chime in.
All right. So let's start with winter, because I don't have a lot to say about winter of 2020.
Right now,
except
or last.
No.
Like
this
right
is fall until the
Okay.
21st.
All right.
And then it's winter. So winter to me is January, February, March.
Okay.
Most of March. Okay.
All right.
Technically, I'm right. Okay. Anyway. So winter this year, 2020, January, I was hustling my tits off to get ready for Podfest. Scott and I both were working like dogs to get ready for Podfest. And then, and we enjoyed a holiday season, but then, we were really running in January, because it was like the first week of March was Podfest. So all of February, all of January. And I actually went to Tampa early February and got sick. And then I was sick for 3 friggin' weeks with a cough that I could not get rid of, in a low-grade fever, which I swear is coronavirus.
I remember
I could not get rid of it. And I was like, I hope I get better before I go to Orlando. This is torture. And then we went to Podfest, and then we came home, and that day or the day after, we had to start quarantining. So winter was the shitty for me. I mean, I had a birthday. I don't even remember how old I turned. Isaac was in pre-K at the time. Scott was, the Les Miserables as usual, and that was my winter. So as far as I'm concerned, nothing good happened in the winter. Winter was all the terrible. So your turn.
All in the
And
terrible.
we'll go on to
Well,
spring.
kind of looking back at Podfest, though, I have to say that a huge highlight of Podfest was when we got to record live on stage there.
Yes, that was
I thought that
fun.
was so fun.
And also our lunch. We had a lovely lunch with our squatters,
The
and that
Super
was
Squad.
amazing. I forgot
That was
about that. Thank
amazing
you.
too.
Leave it to
Those
Elsie to
two?
find
Yeah.
a light in a dark and stormy winter. Yes, yes, you're correct.
It really
You're
it
right.
was amazing. I think all of that stuff, just sitting there with you, being able to giggle with you, and then having oh my god.
I just remember penis
Remember
jokes, and
the
I'm not sure why.
well, no, do you remember our audience? We had like
Yeah, Jenny.
2 people. Yeah, Jenny.
Jenny Wetter.
It was
Thank you
Jenny,
again,
and
Jenny.
and when Emily Prokop would walk around, like she walked for a little bit, and then we had like another random straggler, but Jenny
Jenny was the
Wetter, high
dedicated.
five,
High five,
love you,
girl.
from
Thank you.
Retro Fight Back podcast. So she was like there the whole time, and she was like our like it's like we did the whole show to her. But alas, we felt so famous being in the room and having our
Yes.
mics, and it's just
And having
it's
no one
so
listen. It was
and
extraordinary.
having no one listen. She took pictures of us, so we do have it. It seems as if we were really famous,
Oh,
but
I remember
alas.
why there were penis jokes, because I was trying to get people's attention.
No,
So I kept saying,
it was because we were covering dying for sex.
oh,
Remember?
right. But
That was
then
like-
you were worried about what we were saying on the mic, and I was like, they're not listening. Watch. Blowjob. And like,
Yeah,
no one would turn around or do anything.
yeah.
It was really funny.
for sure. And then we
I would-
have like,
yeah.
and Jenny and Terry was at our lunch too. She's here,
Yes.
which is amazing. I mean, we had
Hi.
like how many? We had a big turnout. I was very surprised by how many people showed up for our Super Squad lunch there, which was like amazing. So, anyway,
Yeah,
thanks
that was
much.
so fun. Yes, Terry, I remember you being there. It was a gorgeous lunch. I was, God, I miss those times so
It was
much.
amazing.
I've not done
Yes.
any traveling this year. I've not seen any podcasting friends, and I miss those so much. Wait, that's not true. Tracy DeForge drove through here with her husband, and I did get to see her for like an hour.
Yeah, I have
was
not seen
glorious.
anybody. That's okay.
It was glorious.
All right.
and
So are we done with I'm done with
done with the winter. On to the
was that
spring.
about it?
Yes, without a doubt. That's it.
Because I think that was about the extent of it. Yeah. Because we came back, it was February. And
Yes.
I have no memory of my birthday because my birthday was also in early February.
Hey,
I
our,
don't
our
remember.
phone number is going by on the bottom.
That's right. Yeah, you can
Hey.
sign up. So for
have a
those of you who are
news line.
watching live, 302-240-3425 is
I
how you
love
sign up
it.
to get text messages from me. And it really is text
Go,
messages from
John.
me.
That looks awesome.
Not necessarily marketing or any of that stuff, but you
Mhm.
can sign up both those different ways. But anyway,
All right, on to the spring. All
okay.
right. So
Move on.
this is working out well because I can just say the few things I remember about each thing, and then you can remind me of. Oh, that was cute too. You can remind me of a few
That
more.
was
Okay.
really cute. You have this one. Okay.
Spring. So now we're into spring, and by spring I mean specifically March-ish, March 15th to say June 15th. Okay.
Okay.
So in the spring, we figured out in May that we were going to not be able to do our event again. And this is like 4 months after having just done it and still riding the high from how great I felt that the conference, the She Podcast Live conference went. Tickets were already selling. Everything was going well. And then in May, I started to notice a huge surge in Arizona. Up until that point, they were like, everything's fine here. We barely have any cases. And then all of a sudden, and I was like, okay, we're going to go ahead and put this off. So we put it off for the upcoming October, but switching gears was rough because last year that was my whole plan for income for She Podcast, both last year and this year. So not having that plan, we had to quickly switch gears and then build our Super Squad membership. We already had a Super Squad Facebook page, but we brainstormed about what we could do to serve our community with or without a conference and came up with our membership. And I built it in the spring. We started working on it. I'm still in the spring, so I'll just stop there. But also in the spring, I watched Isaac learn how to read. He didn't know how to read, and then he was home, and then he did know how to read. And
Isn't that amazing?
it was amazing watching him learn how to read, teaching him how to read. I slowed it down right when he started buying his own movies on cable. And I was like, shit, this has gone too far because he's a really good reader. And actually, Scott and I read both very early. Like I could read at 3. I mean, I'm sure the only reason why Isaac didn't is because, he was in daycare and they don't focus on that at 3. They focus on it
Right.
at 6. So he learned to read in like 5 minutes. And all of a sudden he was like, hey, I want to buy Winnie the Pooh. Psh, and he would buy it. And I was like, oh shit. Let's play a game.
Wow.
So yeah, so he learned how to read. That was annoying, but wonderful and beautiful. Also, personally, I started to spend more time with my husband and my mother-in-law and found out I really do enjoy their company quite a bit. You really know how much you enjoy someone's company when you're quarantined with them. And I do enjoy their company. However, it was also very obvious to me that Scott needed, gosh, how do I say this and not make him, I mean, for people who are judgmental, fuck you, basically is what I'm going to say. I'll just preface it with that. Nothing medical that was working for anxiety, and it was getting worse because of the pandemic, especially because like people were getting sick and he's immune compromised and he was just losing his shit every day. So I suggested a more natural alternative to anxiety medication. Something that, has recently been legalized, and it worked like a charm. Not because he's baked all the time, because now the medical stuff is, they have stuff that you take during the day and stuff, it just relaxes you without making you baked as hell. So I don't know if you're going to have to edit this out or what, but it made him the person that I married. It was like, oh my God, finally he's real. I mean, cause it's, everyone felt anxiety and because of the pandemic, but he's just been suffering since, his dad died and then our daughter died, and it's just been rough and like nothing has really helped. So I remembered that he and I switched personalities when we happened, anytime we happened to smoke. And I was like, maybe he should have my personality all the time. And it worked.
Oh my God.
It worked.
Well, good.
I mean, not
Yay.
all the time, but you guys know what I'm saying. Like it's very effective, especially now that it's regulated. It's even more effective. So if you're going to judge me, but I highly recommend, if nothing is working in your giant ball of stress, that perhaps you talk to your doctor about it, go to a place where they sell it, ask what kind of stuff, tell them what you do all day, and ask them what kind of stuff will help with anxiety without making your head crazy. It works. And then the last thing for the spring for me was having a team.
In the spring, really? Oh yeah,
well,
right? Was it?
Well, because in the winter time, our social media team was working for Podfest, and they were doing a lot of work for Chris and for Podfest. And then when that stopped, they turned their attention on us, mostly for our event. But when we didn't have an event, we still kept them on as a team. And then that's when we also hired and started working with Produce Your Podcast, was in the spring as well.
Oh my gosh.
So I think so. John's looking dubious, but I'm pretty sure we started working with them in the spring. And so that's when we started to see some semblance of a team besides you and I.
That
and
we're
like one
doing all the
VA.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. We started
yeah.
outsourcing. We started, things started happening that weren't happening before because you and I weren't doing them. And so it began. And now, Elsie, your spring.
And now it's my turn. I'm trying to like, as I'm doing this, I'm like reminding myself as to, now that you've threw the whole spring thing, I was like, was that in the spring?
So I thought it was. I mean, I could be wrong. Wow. Totally.
Yeah. I rediscovered, I guess, for the girls being home, I rediscovered teaching. I rediscovered a bunch of services that they could be a part of.
Like online, you mean?
Yeah, online services that they could participate in, that was teaching. I also found them, I developed a schedule that took a while for me to do. I developed a schedule in the morning for them to be able to do. So I was managing all of these different things with them being really engaged with that stuff. I was creating lesson plans and all kinds of stuff. I don't even know where I got that from.
Wow.
Because now I'm like, I don't even know how I even had the time to do that in this, in the springtime. It was a lot more engaged because everybody was pivoting. So there were like the schools, or mind you, I do homeschool anyway, but the homeschool co-op that we attended, was also in transition. So any semblance of structure that we had for them for learning was now 100% on me, which it wasn't before. It was a little more spread out in different places. So we had to deal with that stuff. And I think I did pretty well with that. But the other really good thing, one good thing that I really found out about, or actually got for the very first time, is that's when I really settled down for the first time. And I'm giving you hope, all of you podcasters that are watching right now that are maybe just getting started, that I finally had a place where I could record and I wasn't moving around, hiding under tables, trying to record in the most awkward positions, because that was my life before. It was like, how can I get the best sound with nothing around me? Like, that was the suckiest thing ever. So
Yeah.
I had like a place to be. In fact, I was right behind me. I used to be right in front of that window. For those of you who are watching, behind me, I was facing out that side, and I was able to set my desk up, and then I got gear. I got a ring light. I got an external camera, because as you all know, like Zoom meetings and virtual events and conferences and all of that stuff became something that was a commonplace occurrence, and I was not ready for any kind of video stuff. So I had that. I started to, I took out, oh, John, I know that maybe you are the only one that's going to really appreciate this, but I was finally able to unpack all of my audio gear and place it somewhere so that I could see it and enjoy it and just turn it on. Because before, every time you and I recorded, especially even if it was in my house, I was on the bed. I had to get like a bed table. I had to put everything had to be put away after I finished recording. Everything had to be put out every time I recorded. So it was a whole to do. This was like, oh, I just have to come and press record. So I was like, oh my God, this is insane.
You're so that to me was, every time.
It was unbelievable. I loved it. I think that in terms of that, those were some of my, that's when I started to walk. I started walking consistently right around March. It's when I decided I need to get more, like I need to take advantage of myself here. And I started doing a lot more walking.
We did too. We started walking around the neighborhood every day.
I think as of that time, that was my favorite thing. And looking at my stuff here that I'm looking through, those were my favorite things in the springtime, because everything was still sort of like newish.
Yeah.
And I still had a sense of like, I can't say hope, because I still kind of have hope.
Do you? It hasn't been beaten out of you yet?
It was all like new, like, oh, I get to do this, or wow, okay, I can deal with all of this stuff. I still had this like, it's going to end soon.
Yeah.
Kind of feeling. So
I mean, it did too. Like, I mean, in spring, it went from dire.
Sorry, I have to let my cat out. 1 second.
Okay.
He's getting crazy.
In spring, it went from dire to not so dire. And we started walking, and then we found a neighbor's kid, and then I let him play with that one kid. And then as it got warmer, there were other kids, and then the pool opened, and that worked out nicely.
Yes, sorry.
That's okay.
I also needed water. I'm trying to get my daughter to get me water. I've been
texting her. Go get it. Oh, wait.
No, dude, I'm attached to all my gear. I don't want to go get the water.
No, I was just saying, like, it was very dire at the beginning, and by the time it became June, it was like, we were outside more and walking more and interacting with neighbors more, and then by the time, and then June 1st, his daycare opened, and that was certainly a light at the end of the tunnel, because it wasn't that we minded having him there for 3 months, but it was really, I guess in his age group, it was really hard to keep his attention and not let his behavior go south, especially because once we decided that we were going to do a membership, I had to build it, and I can't build it with a 5-year-old in my face. So we sent him to daycare. It's only one street over, and it worked out pretty good. I mean, that brought us into summer, and in the summertime, I developed a germ circle of trust where I knew the families at the JCC were quarantined, had been quarantined, were quarantining, except for coming to the pool or except for going to his daycare. And so I did the math and felt like, well, if the only places they've been exposed is to each other, that still seems safe. So we started seeing people swimming. He swam every day, and like we would go swim on the weekends, and then we would have friends over that were also, quarantining as well. And it became social, and I had a pretty social summer, and then also in the summer, because of the daycare, I had time to work on the stuff. So I got pretty far as like development and figuring out what we wanted our membership to look like. So for me, summer was all about development. I don't remember doing much else except being outside and developing the membership.
Yeah,
pretty much
summer
all
to
I
me was
remember.
my favorite thing ever because I finally refound the sun because
too,
I
actually.
hadn't. Number one, this was the very first time since I lived in LA. So that means it was over a decade
Mhm.
that I was consistently going out every day for a minimum of like 45 minutes to an hour and a half, sometimes longer, because I set up a little station outside of my house where I got a
Mhm.
lot of sunshine, like just to go sit and work out there. But I was also walking. And since I was in LA, where I was consistently outside, because when I lived in Pittsburgh, I was out a lot, but
Mhm.
Pittsburgh has the least amount of sunshine that I've ever seen in my entire
weird
life.
though, right?
I think that there are some places maybe that have less sunshine, maybe like
Like
Seattle,
London? Yeah.
like London or Seattle, but Pittsburgh is, I would say, 70% cloudy.
I never
The
realized that.
30%, the 30% that is gorgeous is amazing. I mean, it is a beautiful, beautiful place, particularly in the summertime. But
Mhm.
any time outside of that summertime, it is cloudy, dreary. It's just cloudy. And so being where I live now, it's the opposite. It's like 70 to 75% sunshine, beautiful all
Yeah.
the time. Today is a anomaly that this is what Pittsburgh looks like all the time. It's very
Yeah,
cloudy
same
out
here.
there today.
No, that's
But
why.
so that sunshine was so I assume vitamin D for my body, for the way that I'm built and the way that, like, where I come from, living so close to the equator in terms of my genes, it
Mhm.
absolutely changed my entire everything, my mental health and all that. Oh my gosh, Lena, sorry, Lena, you won. You won with
You
your
win.
3 hours of sunshine.
Yeah, you win for sure.
So I do get a lot of sun, and that was amazing. So that was huge for me. And even though I worked my butt off because it did not feel happy.
Yeah.
Working on virtual events this summer, the end product, like being able to present. So this was a huge accomplishment for me. Being able to present in Spanish was massive. And that was a
Mhm.
huge learning opportunity for me because even though I'm bilingual and I understand and I understand reading and obviously hearing things
Mhm.
fine, like I don't
Mhm.
have a problem speaking it, and is very, very challenging, particularly with the Elsie big thoughts. Like I could barely say them in English, let alone in
Oy.
Spanish. So that was
Yeah,
huge.
that's an interesting point.
But being able to present in Spanish to a Spanish speaking audience in 2 separate opportunities was like the best. I don't know if I think that was the biggest accomplishment afterwards. To know that I can do it was number 1. Number 2, to know
Mhm.
that people understood what I said.
I mean, that's still debatable,
I
let's be
mean,
honest.
that's the only I was just like, "Oh, look, they got it. Yay." Right? Hello, Patrick Keller. And so that was huge for me, being able to start and I know that this is not particularly like businessy related, but I really started to consume a lot. The biggest thing. What was the biggest thing? John Buchanan, you know what it is. The biggest thing for Elsie this year that was never a thing ever since we have been doing anything together or
Oh, I
Fishy
know, but
podcast
that wasn't until the
together.
fall. You're jumping
No,
ahead.
it
It's
wasn't.
okay.
I have a date. I have a date of when it all began,
John, do you
but
know?
it was
You've been
it
put on the spot, and now we have to see if you've been paying attention.
Oh, I know it wasn't that the McRib came back.
No,
no, it
what?
was not.
It was, it was the you getting internet when you moved to the other house.
Yes. The
But it
girl
wasn't
has
Yes,
internet.
that's it.
it was kind of primitive internet, but it was internet. In other words, we
Yeah.
didn't have to, like when the leaves on the trees grew, it didn't affect our
That's right.
Or-
That's
No, she has
right.
high-speed internet now, though. Actual high-speed internet.
Now you're
Yeah.
jumping ahead. Yeah, but if it rained, Elsie would have to call on phone because her internet wouldn't work. Or
Yes.
if something happened and somebody downloaded something, she would run out of internet. And like the last episode of the month, she's like, I have no internet. Which me
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Jess, we were like, how does that happen
How?
in this day and age? How does that happen? Where
Someone with a
does that
tech
happen?
job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Someone
that
with a
was a
tech
huge.
job.
It was one of those things that I hit my limits all the time because the girls were here now, right? So everybody was
Yeah.
Zooming, and every Zoom
Yeah.
call obviously was using bandwidth, and I only had a certain allotment of it, and I was paying so much money. Like I can't even tell y'all how much money I was paying for internet, like the basic. Not even. It was more than a gigabyte, a dollar a gigabyte. Let's put it that way. Every
That's
time
rubbish.
it was crazy. But mind you, I was using cellular because it was the only service I could get where I live. There were no actual companies that could provide broadband, internet of any kind, even dial-up. Nobody could do it for me at all. No companies. And then I was getting to the point, particularly with work, we were supposed to be streaming a lot more. And I'm like, I don't even know if I can do that. I can't present with the crappiest of internet. I just can't do that. It's not feasible. So I started to go, we have to solve this problem. And I found a nonprofit that is here in North Carolina, Western North Carolina specifically, that services, I think, 3 separate counties. They're called Pangea Internet, only for businesses. So she podcasts as a business, got internet here, fiber internet installed at my house. And now I have my own like one whatever fiber line that goes directly to my house. That's it. It serves me and me only. So it doesn't ever get like, oh, there's too many people on the line because it's for me. And they're amazing, amazing folks. So and they cut my bill in half to get more, faster, better. All the things were amazingly more for half the money. So,
Right.
I mean, fabulous. Yes, correct.
I
So,
forgot
it's
because you were saying about the sun worshiping. I had forgotten that in the spring we had a family of boxes move in under my deck.
Oh my gosh, you did.
And then I
That's
became
right.
famous on TikTok for sharing their videos. And then they left in the summer and we started having our deck redone. So that means that next spring and summer, A, there will not be foxes because there's no holes in the bottom of my deck. But B, I'll be able to sit outside and work, which is something I was dying to do this spring and summer because I was home all the time. And I mean,
Right.
I work from home, but when you're stuck there, you want options. You know,
Yes.
I couldn't go to Wegmans. I couldn't go to Starbucks. I couldn't go to a friend's house. Like I was stuck in my house inside because there's nowhere to work outside. So that was a summer development too, which then
Yeah.
leads us to the fall.
Wait, I'm not done. I'm not
Oh,
done.
sorry,
with
sorry. I thought you were. I'm sorry. I'm
So,
sorry. I'm not trying to
because-
rush you at all. I'm sorry.
All right. So I got the internet. So given the internet aspect of things, that opened up everything. Ooh, Jess is gone and she left. Everything.
You had
So-
to take a bite.
She like had to put a bite in her mouth. She shoved food in her face. Okay. So because I wasn't able to stream anything. I wasn't allowed to let the girls watch anything on Netflix, on YouTube, or anything because obviously bandwidth, right? So they could never be online. They could never do anything that remotely used any kind of bandwidth. I could not watch like Disney Plus or Netflix or Hulu or any of those things outside of my unlimited plan on my phone. That was like the
Which
only
actually
option
is
I had.
annoying for her friends because anything new that
Mhm.
comes on, she can't watch or participate in any conversation.
Right.
It's
Nothing.
so
But
annoying.
now with this fiber, it opened up all the things. I could now download stuff. I could now send the file right away. I could now let the girls watch all the things. I now could have like streaming all the stuff. I was binge watching every single streaming service that possibly could be. So Hulu was added to my consumption. I was able to consume that, and Disney Plus, and we had family nights watching movies at night. We were never able to do that because we now had our Apple TV that was put away and unable to be used. Before it was just a brick.
Yeah.
Now we were able to use it. So
Before
so
it was
many
just a
wonderful
brick,
things.
y'all. A brick, y'all. Her
It was a
TV
brick.
was a brick.
That's
And
it.
when
But
we-
now
Wait,
it
what's
works.
that? Is
Right,
it a
and
flat
we-
screen? I have to know, or is it one of those that you roll in? What kind
Well-
of TV is it?
I don't know. It's a TV. It's a
Is it a
No,
box
it's
or
a
is it flat?
flat
it's
screen.
flat.
I wasn't sure if she would have flat.
Then what the other thing was that I would get the audio quickly. So if
Yes.
we would record the show, and then the next day Elsie would go into town so she could
Yes.
upload her audio to send. Go into town.
Yes, I had to go into
Everyone,
town.
everyone, we got to go into town so we can
God, how we've suffered.
upload
Yes.
my audio. I would, it would just blow my mind
Yeah.
that,
I know.
and this is
I
when I
mean-
used to say that Elsie was a contradiction of her own self because
I'm telling you, it was crazy. So now I'm going to transition us off a little bit into our next season. But before I do that, I'm going to give a shout out to Terry. Terry from Mixing Up Midlife, where they shake up the middle years one challenge at a time, which I feel is a wonderful transition to move us into our next season. And she is also signed up to our text messages that you get to communicate with me with, which is rolling at the bottom 302-240-3425. Okay, let's go.
All right. Fall. So lots of things happened in the fall. I can start with business first. Business wise, we started getting our shit together and organized. And Scott and I over the summer, of course, tried a couple different projects. We were using Basecamp at the beginning of the year. No one was using it. We switched to Teamwork. No one was using it. And finally, I was like, Elsie, what is the thing that you use? And she said Slack and Notion. So I was like, cool. Because it's really Elsie that I need to communicate with more than anyone else. So wherever she's in, I don't want to give her an extra thing. And it turns out that lucky for us, Libsyn was using Notion and they're in Slack.
And
So
Slack.
that's where she is. So I was like, great. So I built everything in Notion. And actually, like I'd forgotten about Notion, to be honest with you, even though we had just tried to use it like a year prior. But for whatever reason, I forgot about it. So I actually I'll share my screen now for those of you who are watching live. So if you want to see the Notion and the things that I built, because I think
Oh my
there was a
gosh, this is
restriction to that, right?
amazing, y'all. We've done the same thing for Libsyn in different capacities, and I've done it for myself, for my own Notion stuff. It is
Yeah.
absolutely been a game changer for me this year. So this is for sure one of my favorite things is the way that
Yeah.
we're now using Notion in my life. It's part of my
Yes.
everyday professional life. Okay, go.
It is
Jess.
not perfect. So let's just
No.
start with that. It's a lot because we do a lot. There's a lot to organize, but I've gotten pretty far with it so far. And because now we work with a designer and we have like a business manager, I would call Jenny a business manager, wouldn't you? I think she's
Okay.
like business managers. And then we have Super Squad team and we have social media team. And now we're about to start the event. It was vital that we found something that we could all use. So just because I know this was a request, this is our show notes page. This is what we've been using in Notion for years with nothing else. So we get a new episode. I don't know why it goes right to left and not left to right. Maybe we could do it the other way so that we don't have to start.
Let's
'cause
not try to do it right now. Let's just keep moving.
I'm
and
saying
showing
you
this.
add a new thing here and then we drag it all the way to here.
Yes, because let's not talk about that right now. Because
All right, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We don't have to change it. I'm just saying. So the topics are interchangeable. And then also when you make a new topic, you can say whether or not it's like an ad or you put the topic in here. And then when you open it, you can put the notes in here. So you'll notice I'll just show like from a couple weeks ago. We did like our favorite things and she puts the link in here, and then you can open right to it and see what it is she's talking about. If there's an article like this one, Spotify is thinking about data, she puts the link in here, but then also the important parts that she wants to discuss down here. And that way
Actually,
everything Oh, does that just
to
happen?
No, I just have to clarify because what I use to put this stuff in here, because that's the entire article. There is
Yeah.
a Chrome extension that I use, and all I have to do is I go to whatever the article is online, and I press my little thing, and it just goes bloop, and it like sends it off to Notion, and it does all this for me. Like I don't have to copy paste. I don't have to add stuff. It just goes. But anyway.
So this is the part that I'm quite proud of that I've built. This is sort of our, I guess, She Podcast. I don't want to say homepage, but it's kind of our homepage. So quick links to what projects we're working on, task list, and master calendar. And then these are the things we're sort of keeping in our sites. We're doing a live refresh, getting people to sign up for the thing, and engagement for the Super Squad. And then here's all the information about our company. In Planning at a Glance, you have our goals for each quarter, for the year, and for the month. And then here we have our mission, vision, and values. Here we have company information like our address and our links, social links, stuff like that. Here we have information about our entire team. We just added a new team member. Yep. Where are they? Hello. That's weird. Where'd they go?
I don't know if you.
Oh, there they are. Here we go.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why they're not showing up via the gallery. Maybe it's going to take it a minute. That's very strange. That should not be happening. Oh, this is why, because there's no. Here we go. No.
Yep.
Well,
why is this happening?
It doesn't matter. We can just go.
It matters. Okay.
Go
That would have
You
been
don't have to
cool.
fix it
Everyone's
later.
picture shows up. It was cool. Anyway, okay. User access for our accounts if we need users and passes, and then a knowledge hub for where we keep like articles that are used, like I keep stuff in there about like for events like sponsorship and engagement and stuff like that. And then these are all our areas of focus. We have our marketing when we speak and sponsor, our podcast, our merchandise, live events, because it's not only just going to be our conference, we're going to probably do meetups and stuff if we can never leave the house again, and our membership. These are the things that we're thinking about doing: a directory, a women's network, nonprofit. And this is how we do stuff. So this is our master calendar. What I love about a calendar, the calendar specifically, is that this is a master calendar where we have all the things. And you can see it says meeting, it says ad, it says episode, but you can create different views. So here's our Q1 view: December, January, February, March. And then we also have all of our ad campaigns. So you can see which ads are when. Wait, I don't know why these are all on the same day. That's weird. Why is that happening?
But
Doesn't
they have
matter.
the date differently. That's good. It doesn't matter.
I'll fix that. Oops. See, we're still new at it. And then this is the master, sort of the table where you can just put whatever's in here. There's some blank ones.
That you have to also remember that people are going to be listening to this and they're going to be like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're like, why is that broken? What? La, la, la.
Okay, well, you can delete that part, John, because this is mostly for the video people. You're right. Or just make it so that it's, so we can change views in the calendar. It also allows you, but also I designed this. There's no real template for this. Like I had to figure this out. And then also I made a dashboard, an Elsie dash, and now I have my own dash, and there's a Jenny dash. So where are the dashboards?
The craziest thing about Notion is that it is just a blank piece of paper and you can do anything with. It's amazing what you can do. It's so amazing it scares me and I won't use it.
Yeah.
Well,
so
you really have to commit.
Terry asked, do you have this as a lesson in the Super Squad, and how do you set this up and for the pod? Here's the thing, Terry, we probably would share something like some sort of template, and maybe even just the Super Squad, our show notes, so that you can see how we put that out. But in all honesty, the way that I have found that Notion works the best is for you to look at other people's templates, but then really you have to create a template that works with the things that you need to do. And if you don't do that, you can't. It's kind of like if somebody gives you it's like if you have all the furniture, right? You already have furniture that you love, and then somebody gives you a house, and then you try to put that furniture in that house and it doesn't quite
I'll
fit.
give you a better example. I'll give you a specific example. There are templates for master calendars for companies, and there are templates for content calendars, but there's no template for a company that has content and advertising and intercompany meetings and meetups and holidays and all this stuff. So I was trying to cram all of that or separate out, like, it does an ad consist of content, or would that be its own separate calendar? Until finally I was like, I'm just making a master calendar. And then when we have an advertising dashboard, you can set the view to just be the ads. And when you have a She Podcast Live dashboard, that can be all the events for She Podcast Live. And when you have like a, like a time off dashboard, that can be all the holidays, but it all goes into the one calendar, and you can just change the views because it was just too much. We have meetings calendar, that's separate. It can all be separated, but what I showed you was the main piece that has all the things, because that's also helpful to look at too, especially if we're thinking like, hey, let's launch a contest. We can look at the master calendar and go, well, we already are doing this webinar in January, and I already have this interview on Thursday, and we already are doing this, so let's change the week. Whereas like before that, we had nothing that incorporated all that, and there was no template for that at all. There are dashboard templates. Those were very helpful. The calendar templates, as far as like planning out your week, your month, your quarter, your year, that was very helpful because I've never done that. I've also seen digital bullet journal templates that I think are nice that I might incorporate personally. I've also incorporated personally. Okay, so like there's also templates for like keeping track of your entertainment and your media, and like Scott and I have this habit of like binging certain shows and then forgetting what else we had to watch. So we had to start making a list because there are things that pile up. Anyway, this sounds ridiculous, but like saying it out loud sounds insane. But we were tired of being like, what the hell are we watching again? What? I know there was a something, and what were we doing? So that's been really helpful. Also, I have a template for eating vegan recipes, vegan shopping lists, stuff like that, so we can eat a little bit less meat. And so it's helpful for that too. So as far as your question about whether or not we could put it in Notion, there are two possibilities. One, I could go through my own dashboards and stuff that I've built, show you the templates, show you what I built from them, and show you the little things like coloring the text and dragging things next to each other. The other thing I could do is interview Marie Poulin, who is a good friend who does Notion Mastery.
I think that would be amazing. I think that would actually be the most helpful thing, because again, you also, and we had a question. Carolyn said, I was about to start with Airtable to organize everything for my podcast. Would Notion be more versatile?
Yes, it is more versatile.
There's two different ways that I see Notion. I don't think Notion is great for project management specifically, like just doing a project and starting from one place and moving to the next thing. It's a
they now have timetables though.
They do, but it is not the best. It is clunky. It is slow. It's hard to put the information in there. It is, believe me, we've tried. But there are other places that actually work better for actual project management. What this works for is exactly what you're talking about, Carolyn, the expandability of it to keep all the things in one place, because you can add docs. It supports Markdown, which is a huge thing for me. It is the ability to search for stuff is unbelievable. And so there's like, and you can do like landing pages. So for Libsyn, what we've been doing is we create one landing page every time we do a webinar with a guest. And so we have one landing page that we have when the thing is happening, what are the graphic assets, what the description of the thing is, what everybody's handles are, what, expectations as to what we're supposed to do, all of that stuff. And that landing page is shared with our team, and it's also shared with whoever our partner is. So instead of going like, when are we supposed to be there? How do you sign in? What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Where's the pictures? Where they just go to that place. And so now we are sharing that out, but that's not a project. That's a page.
There are two things I want to show you regards to that. Yeah. One is the membership. So this is technically, it's a database, which is why it has all these things. So it has what tasks are related, the master stuff, but then also there's a bookmark to the queues. So what we're starting to do is sort by date. So these are all the questions for yesterday's QA, and now our team can go in and sort them out and make FAQs. Now when the questions start coming in for next Q&A, we'll put it here. And this is kind of how we do our show notes too. The other thing I wanted to show you is the The database for that is
You should do the sponsorship. Show them the sponsorship thing that you created.
Oh yes. So this
That's
oh,
what
that's a good point.
that's a different way of using Notion that is totally not Airtable. This is anyway, go ahead. Just show
You
them
know what?
the thing that you did.
You're
Where?
right. Okay. I'm going to put a link to the She Podcast SPL to the She Podcast main dashboard so that I can get to that quickly. These are our projects. Hold on. All right, here's the main dashboard. This is the sponsorship deck to send people. So this is my She Podcast Live dashboard. This is our calendar. These are the actions that only refer to She Podcast Live. This is how we do run of show, our marketing plan, standard operating procedures. And now this is what we're going to start sending to clients. Learn about the largest network of women in non-binary. So if you want to hear about the audience, boom. The numbers, oh, that doesn't look good. Boom. Well, only because I'm in dark mode.
Yeah.
Audience influence and women consumers. Here's the different types of advertising and an explanation here. Special experiences. Here's all the activations. If you see one, you can see the price right there. You open it up and it says, arrival and departure and braided style. I'll probably add some. I don't know how much explanation they need. People usually like to just look and then decide. So if they already know what they're going to do, they can come down here. Could I have your first name, last name? And this also says, do you already know what you're going to do? Have you advertised with us before? If you already know which one you want, I have them type it in and then we'll just send them an invoice. Boom, done. If they don't know what they want, I can have them set up a call with me here through this as well. And this way you can see all the different types of sponsorships. I don't know. I feel like this could look better though somehow. Anyway, it's constant tweaking. In fact, yesterday Scott saw me tweaking the Notion. He was like, "Are you working on this so you don't have to actually do work?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah, and I think that's where the
probably a risk.
There's times you can at some point have somebody just work on Notion to make it pretty, but the whole point is you just want to get things done.
There's something called visual hierarchy. If you didn't have pink, green, if all of it was white, it would be impossible to navigate. You have to make it look somewhat visually important. You have I know you get it, but I don't want it to seem like I'm just playing in there. But yeah, the master calendar, She Podcast Live calendar, that's a perfect example of that's how I think you can project manage in there, is because you have all the tasks for the one project. Each task, if you open the task, will have more instruction on the task. The other thing I wanted to show you was, like, in our meetings, I made a meeting template. So every time you have a new meeting, it allows you to put the agenda at the bottom, notes from the meeting, tasks going forward, and thoughts you might have about new ideas, because lots of new ideas come up in our meetings too. So I do think it's good for project management. And to be honest, like, I know Elsie and Libsyn, you guys use Monday, and maybe that works, but it didn't work.
We just broke up with Monday.
See, nothing works.
No, it's
nothing freaking works, actually, especially for us.
The thing that works is the thing that people will actually use. This is the closest that we've gotten. So you cannot have a tool that people are not opting in to use in order for it to work. If you have the fanciest project management and amazing workflow, it's not going to work if people don't use it. I would love to use Notion for our show notes for the feed with Rob, but I know that he's not going to leave Google Docs.
Yeah.
I know that.
Oh, well.
It doesn't matter how fancy I make it. It doesn't matter how easy I make it for him. What's going to end up happening is I'm going to have to manage him every time to use that. And that's going to take even more time. So I'm sticking with Google Docs with him doing our show notes. And then I have to figure out a workflow for me to be able to then use those show. And that's what I've done. I have a database on Notion with all of the stuff for the feed that he has access to if he ever wants to use it. But it's primarily for me.
The other thing is that Notion does all the things that Airtable does as far as sorting and properties and stuff like that. So, and it costs a lot less. So that's why I would do that too. But we've gone way off as far as our year in review. Sorry. Let me just finish up our year in review for fall, because I have 3 things.
With SaneBox, we have to talk about SaneBox.
We will. Okay, now let's talk about SaneBox. Yes, I do want to remind you about our sponsor, SaneBox, and I've been using it. I've been reusing it. I've been using it the past week. I love SaneBox. My folders in SaneBox I have an archive, which just gets, doesn't delete stuff. And then I have the black hole, which is stuff that I don't want to necessarily unsubscribe and have them see, but that I don't want to see. And then I have the later stuff, which is stuff that you like, like receipts and stuff you don't want to deal with. And then there's the news one where all the newsletters go into there and I can just read them all at one time. And then I have a red tape folder, which is like your orders arriving and it's receipts and stuff like that too. I make a red tape folder for all the business of stuff. And then I have a shopping one for all the newsletters from all the places I like to shop. And I have no replies for people I email that have no replies. Those are and it's helped me a lot. I've had no more than 40 emails in my inbox all week where normally I had like 150.
I love that. Good for you.
And it's actually 40 tasks, which is still stressful, but not as bad as, as what it's like when I don't use SaneBox. So go to sanebox.com, check it out. It's not expensive. They go through a whole procedure of teaching you how to use it and what each folder is for. It's been really helping me, especially with the holidays coming. Like I get bombarded with emails and now I don't have to have them, mix in with my important stuff, which I love. So check it out. Sanebox.com, sanebox.com. And now for me, for fall, the most important thing, fancy pajamas, having day pajamas that actually look like work clothes. I love this. I bought 2 onesies in the last week. One of them is like a green hooded pajama onesie, but it's like sweatpants, but it looks like nice clothes. And another one is like a blue velour one, which is like V-neck here. Kind of looks like a holiday dress, but it's also just velour pants, which I love.
I love that.
Yeah, they're awesome. I'm so excited to wear them. So we have day pajamas. We also have our bread machine we bought at the beginning of the fall. We've been making fresh bread, because regular non-fresh bread is terrible for you. Actually, all bread, whatever. We're just trying not to eat processed food. So we bought our own bread machine. It's been working out really well. And then the other thing is, the very last thing is Notion. We've been using Notion a lot, and that's been really helping. And school and kindergarten. He started kindergarten this fall. He's loving kindergarten. His reading has gone through the roof. Vaccine has made it possible for us to start selling She Podcast Live confidently. We were kind of touch and go there for a little bit. So things are looking up. 2020 was definitely a shit show of a year, but we actually filled, I know Elsie's turn is coming up, but I'm just saying we actually filled a whole hour with positive things that happened, which is a miracle. Go ahead, Elsie.
I love it. So I'm going to actually switch. I'm going to do my last shout out here. And this is from Sarah. And her show is the Adulting with ADHD podcast. Thank you so much, Sarah, for being part of our text community here at 302-240-3425. And actually, speaking of ADHD, I do believe that I do have ADHD, and it has been I guess in some way it's been a very good thing that I finally am able to put a name to something that was happening inside of my brain that I didn't quite know. And I think I'll go deeper into that conversation very soon, maybe in a different show, because I haven't shared some insights that I had, Jessica, that were really like poignant and like super heart and like emotional. But anyway, but I finishing off, I think especially now, like there are 2 very lighthearted things that happened that I am now in a place. Well, Randy was like, he was like, you do understand that your entire life you have just gotten what you want, right? You do know that, because I am very privileged in that fashion. I always end up getting everything that I want. And now I'm going to tell you why. So this year, fiber internet came to the place where nobody believed it ever could. It is now here. I have it. The second thing that happened was that my local supermarket, there's one, nothing else is around me, got a Starbucks. Starbucks is problematic. I get it. But I had 0 coffee shops anywhere. Like,
now you have the mother. You have the mothership.
Now I have a Starbucks in my supermarket. So if ever I want to have a cup of coffee that's fancy and pay a lot of money for it, I have it there.
Yay.
And now, Jessica, I'm going to drop this on you, and I you may or may not understand what this means to me now. But as we start to drive up the hill, there is a food truck now there. And guess what they sell?
Don't say.
Let's see if you can guess.
Pupusas. No way. Pupusas right where you live?
Is that insane or what? There is
How
a
the
pupusa
fuck
food
did
truck.
that happen?
I went and talked to them. Randy was like, because he was like, did you know that? And I'm like, no. And he was so sweet. He's like, you need to go talk to them. So he pulled up and I got out. Dude from El Salvador. I spoke Spanish to them. I'm like, you have pupusas?
Cry.
And they were like, yes. So now I get to order pupusas and come up to the mountain and I have pupusas down the mountain.
I
Is
can't
that
believe
not
it.
insane?
It's a
I
little
was like,
annoying. I see his point.
And he was just like, and I was like, I have all the things. And he goes, you just have, people just send you things. People just give you
true.
things. People, you
No,
always
it's the
get what you
universe.
want.
Not people. It's the universe.
And so then I was just like, oh, wow. So now I have coffee, pupusas, and internet.
I guess the universe has decided you've suffered long enough without those three things. Eventually, it had to happen. Let's be honest. You've only lived without it.
I gotta,
forever.
here's the thing. How many pupusas trucks do you think there actually are in the United
Not
States?
many. I've never seen one.
Right,
And I
and you have one in the bottom, at the bottom of the hill, in the middle of nowhere.
No, it's so weird.
Right?
How did that happen? Are you sure that's not your brother's friend or something?
No, it is hilarious. And it's so cute because I friended them on Facebook because they don't even have a page. They have a profile.
Oh my god.
It's so cute. They have a profile. Anyway, so I'm super excited. But now I'm going to
Wow.
switch it off to like the real meaningful things that I think are the best things about this year. Number one, I have watched my girls mature in front of my eyes. Like I've seen them from day to day because I see them every day, right? It's like I'm
Right.
constantly with them. And I have seen this insane maturity that has happened with them as little humans that I'm not sure I would have seen if we were doing all the things all the time. So I've had the real privilege of seeing them
Yeah.
mature and become who they are now in 1 year, and what an incredible growth they've had.
I know.
And the second thing is about podcasting, and it's about the fact that even though there's so much growth in the industry, in the way that it's becoming all businessy and all very serious, and now there's like a podcast taxonomy and everybody has a label and all of these things that are happening, the reason that I'm in podcasting is because of how it's made me a better human being versus this is my job. And so being able to get here every single week and talk with my best friend in this way has helped me be okay. That I feel sad, I feel disconnected, but I always can come talk to Jess. And that's like a huge blessing that I don't think people really get. And even having these conversations give me the option of like, oh, I get to talk with her. I get to laugh. I get to forget. I get to think about other things. I get to talk to grownups. I get to be connected. I get to,
Right.
like all of these things that afterwards, like there's been times when I've come in that I've been really stressed out over something. And then we have a conversation on the show and I leave and I'm like, why do I feel so good? Why does it feel so great? Right? Why
Yeah.
do I feel so good? And I look back and I go, oh, it's because I just had a wonderful, lovely conversation with Jess. And that in itself is a huge blessing, regardless of how many people are watching, how many downloads you get, do we have the right branding? And all of these things are important and all that stuff. But in all honesty, what podcasting has given me as a human and as somebody who is already very introverted, it's given me an opportunity to really address those issues in a public way, but be better at speaking, developing relationships, and showing up. So I don't think that people give this kind of podcasting, now the kind that you and I do, enough credit in what it can actually do to people's lives and the impact that it can have to everyday living outside of the podcasting industry. I just don't, it's just not, I don't think that people give
It is a
that
blessing. It's someone
meaning.
who's not in your face. It's someone who can't come over and judge the way you live, or wouldn't anyway. Someone who can talk to you about work and the other stuff. It really is a blessing. And I know not everyone is blessed to have a co-host like that.
That's
though,
true.
too. We're very lucky to
No, I
have
get it.
each other, but That's so sweet, and that's very true.
Yeah.
I know. I feel very grateful for having this podcast too, and there are less and less days where I'm just like, oh, I don't want to talk about podcasting because this year it has really been something else to think about. It has
Yeah.
been in itself has been a blessing other than what we're dealing with. So it's been really nice.
Yep. You and Carolyn and Terry both say the same thing, that, Terry loves her best, my best friend has joined me as a co-host and it's made me feel so connected. And Carolyn says, I amend my earlier statement. Walking and podcasting saved me in 2020. She podcasted in the podcast community has been such a great gift. And, I absolutely agree. I think that there's something to be said about these types of communities and having just that feeling be worth the price of admission, right? It's not about all the other things that we're optimizing for, which we all look for, but there's something to be said about the mere act of podcasting versus I'm a associate editor, I am a story person, I am the executive producer. Yeah, I'm a host. We get it. It's great. But
And
it's also great that we do all the things. Anyway,
we could have a whole nother show about the things we've had to learn this year as community leaders.
Yeah.
In the spring with George Floyd and all the things that have happened in the last year.
Jeez. Yeah, there's vodka as well.
What's been a blessing this year for me? Vodka. I have really drank my way through this year as well. Only at night, and I've drank a lot of Malbec. I've had a lot of alcohol. Not in one night, but certainly over the year, I've drank way more than I normally do because you just at the end of the day, you just are like, I would like a drink now, and you deserve it. But yeah, we've learned a lot as community leaders as well about how we're succeeding and how we're failing and how we could succeed better and how we could support our community better. That would be a whole nother show, right? Because we have learned.
Yeah,
I'm
it'll
sure
be in another show. But I mean,
themselves, but
yeah, it is. It's been great to learn, and I think that we do need to at some point talk about how we can support each other better in that way. Because thinking about making fun of all the the drinking we've been doing and whatnot. It's like, yeah, we have to some degree, and we also came to a point where it's like there's a real end where it's like, you know what, this is totally not okay. It's unhealthy, and it's not going to get me to where I want. And there's a point, especially as at least me as a woman of a certain age. That there comes a point where you're just like, this is not healthy for me. It's not at all. And it needs to stop.
Drinking?
Yeah.
All drinking?
Yeah.
I mean,
for me, that's my choice.
Yeah, that's your choice. I find that hard to believe. So wait, if we were out, you wouldn't have a glass of wine?
Yeah, of course, in that respect, but not having it in the house. Like it never was in the house. I mean, we do have a dry household, right?
We were dry for a long time. I've been through the soberness. I already know I'm not an alcoholic. Although I will say that there have been times this week where I've woken up and gone, is it too early for Kahlua and cream or something? I know.
Dude, that's too sugary. Ugh.
I know it's sugary, but also it would just relax me, and I don't feel like coffee.
No, sorry, I know Leslie.
Sorry, Leslie. She is a buzz man.
Jessica will tell you how many times I kill her buzz. I totally am her buzz kill.
She's the worst. So, she's such a rule following Saint Agatha. She's the worst.
I am the one that's like,
you and I listen, as long as it's not hurting anyone or ourselves, I don't see anything wrong with. And look, yes, Kahlua and cream is sugary, but you know what else is not? I mean, I'm not eating candy, so I can have one Kahlua and cream, and that's a lot better than a bag of Hershey Kisses, which is where I started this year.
Yeah.
So I'm working much harder on my sugar addiction, and it's the holidays, so leave me alone. Anyway.
Yes, I know I get it, but I am the buzzkill. But anyway, on that note, I think we should wrap it.
Yes, that's it for the day. Thank you guys so much for joining us today for our holiday end of year wrap up episode. If you have anything you would like to discuss with us, please send it to feedback@shepodcast.com. You can also find us on all the socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram @shepodcasts. Please join us in our text community and get all the updates you ever need about everything. 302-240-3425. That is 302-240-3425. 3425. You can also go to my.community.com/she podcast. Our show notes are at shepodcast.com. As well as everything else we do. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for a wonderful year, 2020. Thank God it's over. We will see you in January. Love you.
Mean it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, chai spiced infused vodka. I've been drinking rum chata. I drink
What the heck
peppermint
is that?
bark rum chata. Rum chata is like it's a Mexican. It's rum infused.
I
with
know
like-
what horchata is.
Oh, it's peppermint bark rum chata.
Listen to the way Elsie says it. Elsie says
Say it again.
Horchata.
Rochata. Yes,
Horchata.
I have a bowl. I have a bottle of regular rochata, and now they're making just for the season peppermint bark rochata, and I love it. It's delicious. I drink it over ice. 1 cup over ice is a lot better than eating dessert. So I've been allowing myself that through the season. I will say that I've replenished the bottle twice though, but whatever. I did share it.
So I like a little of this apple Jack Daniels
I love
my
Applejack.
God,
That's
guys,
good stuff
Apple
too.
Jack
with
Daniels.
diet ginger ale.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. You
The
Or
guys.
Applejack
diet.
is good. I don't drink whiskey that much, but that's a good one.
Oh
That
my
is-
God.
And
I'll just
honey. Did
go.
you try the honey one? They have a honey one.
Yeah, I'm not a big. I like the regular or the apple. The honey one, I don't know. But
That's
yeah,
crazy,
like I
y'all.
said, that for me is
You.
that's a cup. A nice big tumbler of ice, and that
Yeah.
at night sometimes after a day of editing.
Yeah.
It's not the editing; it's the things that happened like during the editing. We never even addressed what happened last week with the
Oh
show.
my God, that's right. Let's
No,
do a
you're
quick
right. Do we
follow-up
need
before
to?
we go.
Yeah,
Holy
what
crap.
happened last week was that Elsie's audio was just static. It was just
Yeah, there was no voice. It's not that it had static. It was like
yeah, there was
only
nothing. There was no Elsie. It was like an alien sent it sent audio over, and so then I had to use the recording. What I record that how I record them via over
StreamYard.
Stream- and the problem is that you can't take the talking over out. When one person talks and the other person talks, there's ducking, and it was
We don't ever do that, right, Jess?
Never.
it never stops. Never stops. When I was going over the show to put it out, and I was like, oh my God, they just charge in and they keep talking. I'm like, what is this, The View?
Sorry. I know we do sometimes. I have a doctor's appointment in a half hour.
Oh yeah, you gotta go. Okay, I gotta go too. I have a meeting here
Anyway.
very soon, and then I have many
Well,
meetings.
I'm gonna
Is
hit-
this Riverside? This is StreamYard, Terry. This is
StreamYard.
StreamYard.
Yes. Yeah, this is StreamYard. Riverside. All right.
Go now. Love you guys.
Yeah, Riverside is great. We'll give a rundown. I am a big fan of Riverside. I'm a big fan of StreamYard. They have 2 separate uses. It's the
Yeah.
same. It's a different.
I would say
yeah.
that too.
Anyway,
Yeah, they do.
but
All right. Bye, everyone.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.